Hey guys, so in this video we're going to be making a threaded port scanner. The reason we're doing this over our basic port scanner is because take the example of a parent with, let's say, 2 children. You have 2 children and these children can do different tasks, right? One can sweep, the other can cook, but they can do them at the same time. And so that's the concept of threading, is that these threads can go out, do these functions, these tasks, whatever they are, at the same time. And instead of waiting for one function to end, it happens at the same time. So that's the same concept. If you have questions about that, leave those in the comments down below. But we're going to get started and import socket and also threading. So we're able to thread from queue. We're going to import queue. And then we're also going to import time. The first thing we're going to do is socket.setDefaultTimeout equal to 0.6. And what this does is if no response in 0.6 seconds, it moves on. So it moves on to the next port. The next thing we're going to do is set our print lock equal to threading.lock. The reason we're setting a threading.lock is so that it prints normally. When we create a bunch of different threads and we're trying to have them print what ports are open and stuff, they're going to print out of order. So the threading.lock prevents that from happening. The next thing we're going to do is make our queue, and then we're going to define our port scan, which is going to take a host and a port, and we're going to say s is equal to our socket dot socket, and we're going to say socket dot if af dot inet, and we're going to say socket dot sockstream for TC protocol. Then we're going to go ahead and try, and we're going to say connection is equal to s dot connect. We're going to pass in the host and port parameters that were given. Then we're going to say with print lock, we want to go ahead and print port is open. Then we're going to go ahead and format, and we're going to pass in the port. After that, we want to go ahead and say the connection dot close. We want to close the connection, and then we want to go ahead and accept all, and we just want to pass. If you wanted to print if the ports are closed, you would do so just like this. Under the accept, you would put that down there, but you would of course change it to, instead of open, to close. The only thing is there's probably going to be a lot of ports that are closed, so you're going to have a lot of input into the console, and so that's why I am not doing that, just because we can see which ones are open. After that, we're going to define our threading function. It's going to take one, which is going to be the host, and then we're going to say port to scan is going to be equal to q.get, and then we're going to pass in our port scan. We're going to pass in the host and our port to scan. After that, we're going to say q.task done, so that it gets out of our queue, and we want to do all of this while true. So after that, we're going to make our main function. The main function is going to get a target, and that target is going to be passed by input. We're going to say enter the website or IP. After that, we're going to say host is equal to socket dot get host by name. We're going to pass in the target. If you pass in a website, we'll give IP. If you pass in the IP, we'll just pass it in as normally. The next thing we want to do is go ahead and ask for amount of threads. We're going to set that equal to an input again. We're going to say enter the amount of threads you'd like. Recommended is 200. And then we're going to say num of ports, which is going to be input, and enter the max number of the port range. So after that, we're going to go ahead and also do our start time, and then we'll get into making the threads as well as the ports. So after that, we're just going to say start time is equal to time dot time. Then we're going to say for I in range of amount of threads, but because we're calling it input, it's passing it as a string, so we have to convert it to an integer. What do we want to do? Well, we want to make a t, and we want to do threading dot thread. We want to pass in the target, which is going to be our thread, because it's going to call our port scan with the port it needs to check next. Then we're going to call args, and we're going to pass in the host. Now the reason we're passing it in with parentheses followed by a comma inside is because that is what a single element tuple is, and that's how you make one, is parentheses, one element inside followed by a comma. So this makes it to where it passes it as one element versus 11 or 12, which is what you would get, because it would cause an error and say one positional argument required 11, 12, or whatever given. So this is how you stop that from happening. The next thing you want to do is go ahead and set t.daemon is equal to true. This basically just says that these are children of the main thread. If the main thread dies, then so do the children as well. And then we're going to do for ports in range of 1 comma int num ports. We want to go ahead and put q dot put ports. So we want to put the ports we want to scan inside of our queue. After that is done, we want to go ahead and just say q dot join to cancel this, and also have our threads end as well. After that, we're going to go ahead and say total run is going to be equal to a float. That is going to be parenthesis or percent sign 0.2f, and we're going to pass in our time.time minus our start time, and then we're going to go ahead and print our total run time is dot format total run. So it created another if, so we'll get rid of that. And then we'll go ahead and call our main. We'll save. Now, I just want to say that make sure that you have permission when scanning, because some sites may not like it. And it also just, it depends. Always make sure what you're doing is legal. So I'm going to use one that is on the bug crowd bounty list. So we'll do 1.password.com, 200 threads, port range we'll do the first 1,000, and I think should work. Called main. Let me try another one. We'll do tesla.com, 200 threads, first 1,000. So it could be something up here. Let me just take a look. And that's why. So host and port need to be passed as a single element tuple because that's what it takes. So we'll run it again. We'll go with our old one, password.com, 200 threads, first 1,000, port 80 is open, port 443, and it's done. So that is how you make a threaded port scanner. If you guys have any questions, please leave them down below in the comments, and if you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and until next time.